FM, we're in the zone for sports fans everywhere. Welcome home.
And here is the Europa League winning manager and Postecoglou, a big sign there, and you've ended Spurs' 17-year trophy drought, their first European Cup since '84. Just tell us what was going through your mind on that final whistle.
Look, I'm still trying to take it all in. It's I know what it means for this football club, you know, and unfortunately, the longer it goes on, it's harder to break that cycle sometimes. And you know, even I could sense some nervousness in everybody at the club because they've been in this situation before, and until you get that, until you break that sort of, take that monkey off your back, you never understand what it feels like. And we've got a really young group, but I'm hoping them tasting this now and the success they have, you guys will know it feeds into itself. You know, they feel differently about themselves, and mainly for the supporters, because you know, there's probably been supporters here who've been following us for those 40 years.
Alright, our first European trophy in 40 years, first in 17 years. A good moment for Tottenham Hotspur yesterday at the Europa League finals. The battle between United and Tottenham ended in a victory for Tottenham Hotspur yesterday. First trophy in 17 years, first European trophy in 40 years. What a moment for Tottenham Hotspur and their fans yesterday. On that winning note, I say welcome to the Thursday edition of Sport Today on the biggest sporting platform on 103.5 FM, broadcasting live from Bodija here in the brown city of Ibadan to give you the latest and the biggest coming from the world of sport. Trust me, on the show this afternoon, I will talk about the game that went down yesterday. When the time is right, I will listen to the coach of United, Ruben Amorim, talking about the game yesterday. What happened to United? What went wrong yesterday? We'll discuss that on the show. Don't you worry. I will listen to the coach of Tottenham Hotspur on the show this afternoon. And just yesterday, if you feel this promise of winning a trophy in the second year. Ladies and gentlemen, we take stories from the world of NBA this afternoon also. The game that went down earlier hours of today, we saw Indiana Pacers. Yes, they were in action earlier hours of today. They won their game 138 points to 135 points. We dive into the game from the first quarter of the game to the last moment of the game. We take stories from the world of table tennis this afternoon. Don't forget that our own Aaron Kodri doing well right there in Doha in Qatar. We take stories from the National Sports Festival going down in Abeokuta on the show this afternoon. And don't forget, yesterday we saw the semi-finals of the President FA Cup. 2 games went down yesterday from 2 centers, one in Lagos, one in Abuja. And of course, talk about the Ikorodu boys. The Oga boys are losing against Abakaliki FC yesterday, and for Kwara in Lagos playing against highly rated Enugu Rangers. Kwara United won the game by a lone goal. These are many more stories that will be coming your way this lovely Super Thursday afternoon. My name is Ayomikun Adeniyi. You can simply call me Purity. Guess what? I'm on the driving seat this afternoon to take you through the ever interesting, ever sensating, ever heartbreaking world of sport. And talking about heartbreaking, yesterday we saw a game at the Europa League. When it's time is right, we talk about the game. But then let's start with NBA this afternoon, shall we? Talking about Indiana Pacers game against New York Knicks right there in the conference final, the first game of the conference finals. Indiana Pacers won the game, recording 138 points against 135 points. Yes, from the first quarter of the game, we saw the home side New York Knicks winning the game, recording 36 points in the first quarter of that game. And for Pacers, they recorded 34 points. The second quarter of the game also gave us a whole lot of actions. We saw New York Knicks scoring 33 points in the second quarter of that game. And for Pacers, they were just coming back into the game in the third quarter. Even though they lost the third quarter of the game, we saw them doing the magic in the final quarter, scoring 38 points to have a tie. After overtime, it was a victory on their part, recording 135 points. Away from basketball this afternoon, straight to tennis. And this time around, we'll be talking about Aruna Kodri doing well right there in Qatar. Remember that his last game he won by a beautiful margin. So he'll be playing against world number 3 later today in the round of 16. Wishing our own Aruna Kodri well later today. But then away from tennis this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, let's take stories from the National Sport Festival going down in Abeokuta yesterday. Team Oyo had a successful day at the competition, securing multiple medals across various sports. Notable achievements include Aliyu Ibrahim winning a silver medal right there in the men's taekwondo category, and of course we have William Grace earning a bronze medal in the women TDB dart yesterday. Another bronze also went down in the women's single right there in Abeokuta. We have Tawa Kalitu Yekin claiming silver medal right there in the women 1 kilometer individual pursuit circle event yesterday, and we have Ajade also winning silver medal for women in taekwondo category. Yes, we have Lawan Aderunke and Oyetunde Toyin securing silver medal in the women double of the one we call Ayolok, but definitely is a good one for them. We have Adeyemi Said also doing the magic yesterday, securing gold medal in the men's 100 and 301 single dart just yesterday. So the action going down in Abeokuta. Yes, we have several games that went down yesterday, even in the handball, table tennis, and several other games. But then, as we speak, we still have Bayelsa. Team Bayelsa still leading the line, securing 25 medals, 16 gold medals, 6 silver medals, and 3 bronze medals. In Delta, Delta stays second on the log now, as we speak, with 7 gold medals, 5 silver medals, 6 bronze medals to make it 18 on the log. Oshu State third on the log now with 7 medals, 6 gold medals, and 1 silver medal. Team Oyo in 6th position, 4 gold medals. They have 1 silver medal and 6 bronze medals to make it 11 on the log. Don't forget that Rivers and Lagos are 4th and 5th respectively. Team Edo in the 10th position as we speak. Action still continuing today, and of course we are hoping for the massive result that will be going down in Abeokuta. In all that game that we saw the volleyball event just yesterday. Team Ondo doing the magic against Bauchi. Team Ondo won the men's category of the volleyball yesterday in Alake Sports Center in Abeokuta, and for Bayelsa also won their game by 3 sets against Team Delta, while Castina lost to Team Kwara yesterday, and Kano doing the magic against their northern brother, Team Adamawa. From the female category, we saw quite a number of games also yesterday. Team Ogun securing victory at home against Team Rivers by 3 sets to 2 sets, and for Kaduna, the Kada girls won against Team Lagos 3 sets to 1 set, and Bauchi also losing yesterday to Castina, and of course Anambra also lost to Team Oyo right there in the volleyball event. The game went down at the Alake Sports Center in Abeokuta. Yes, stories are coming from Abeokuta this afternoon. Also yesterday we saw cricket events, and of course Team Delta won by 3 wickets against Team Delta won by 3 wickets against Team Imo. And for Zamfara, losing to Kaduna by 9 wickets. And Team Lagos against Team Oyo. The Southwest Derby went down yesterday also in Abeokuta. And Team Oyo won by 4 wickets. What a magic, what a moment we had right there in the city of Abeokuta just yesterday. All right, away from the National Sport Festival, ladies and gentlemen, let's go straight to football. And starting from the foreign scene, I'll be joined by City Boy on the show this afternoon. My guy, good afternoon to you, City Boy.
Good afternoon to you, Ayomikun. What's up?
It's good to have you on the show this afternoon, the Super Thursday edition.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the show. Quite unfortunate that I'm not live in the studio with you, but I just had to do this because I was very far away from the studio this afternoon. That's why I had to be available via the phone call. But good afternoon to you and good afternoon to the sport fans. It's always a pleasure to discuss sports and what the moments. I've been following the program. You've been talking about the ongoing National Sport Festival, the progression of Team Oyo, racking up medals, and also the other state contingents as well. I think Bayelsa are still topping, right?
Yes, definitely they are topping.
In the medal table. But let's see what happens before the end of the festival. But it's been a very, very fantastic festival. We've seen so many interesting sporting activities from cricket. I mean, you
to volleyball.
I mean, it's been very, very fantastic. It's been an all-inclusive sport festival, and this is one of the things we've been clamoring for. That sport development is not rocket science. That we should shift focus from just football. We can also thrive in other sports.
Definitely, we can.
It's very, very commendable that the Sports Commission actually they are putting all their effort to ensure that more talents are discovered, more talents are brought to be developed, so that Nigeria can also produce some stars in other sports. Good one. We still keep our finger crossed as the festival progresses.
All right, let's talk about the game that went down yesterday at the Europa League. Of course, we will talk about what happened in the world of NBA this afternoon. But then let's focus on the football event that happened yesterday, the Europa Finals between Tottenham Hotspur and United. Right there, we saw the game. Of course, we saw how United dominated majority part of that game. But quite unfortunate for them, they lost that game with a slim margin against Tottenham Hotspur. Against all odds, United lost out yesterday.
Yeah, it was very, very disappointing. A disappointing night for United fans, the players, the coaching crew, every stakeholder in that club, the past legends. I mean, it was a difficult night in Bilbao for them. I mean, they were unbeaten throughout the tournament up onto the final moment, up onto the final. I mean, it's very, very heartbreaking, very, very heartbreaking for them. They have played unbeaten, but just lose the final. They lost when it matters most. But in football, it is what it is. Anything can happen.
Anything can just happen.
And when you fail to do the needful, you just have to take whatever you get at the end of the night. I would say congratulations to Tottenham Hotspur winning their first major trophy in 17 years, ending 17-year trophy drought. And, you just have to see this season. I was saying it yesterday that this season seems to be the season of underdogs.
Definitely.
It seems to be the season where, trophies, droughts have been, ending trophies drought. I mean, we saw Newcastle, we saw Crystal Palace, we saw Bologna, Go Ahead Eagle, Hurricane, now Tottenham yesterday. It was their moment yesterday. It was very painful for Manchester United. I mean, that was the only trophy that could salvage their season. Maybe if they had won yesterday, they would have qualified for the Champions League. For Tottenham as well, both teams were just in the same situation, in the same circumstances, because both teams have endured a very poor season in the Premier League, and the only opportunity for them to actually right the wrong of what has happened in the Premier League was to win the Europa League. But unfortunately, we could only have one winner, and Tottenham, became the champions yesterday. For the game, I would say that Ruben Amorim got his selection wrong.
Okay, please walk us through the selection, because yesterday we spoke about the selection and of course the setting up of United. Yesterday they played 3-4-3, 3 defenders, backline, 4 midfielders, 4 attacking players alongside Onana in between the stick for United yesterday. So walk us through where do you think that the coach got it wrong yesterday?
It's not about the system, it's about the players. It's
about
the selection of players. We've always known that he preferred to go with 3-4-3. That has always been his style of play. That has always been his pattern. But the players, I mean, benching Garnacho yesterday was totally unnecessary. And starting Mason Mount ahead of Alejandro Garnacho was not very, very good call. It was not a good call from Amorim. Also, up onto that final day, up onto the final game yesterday, he always prefer a double pivot of Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte. But yesterday, he played Bruno Fernandes in a more deeper role, and he benched Ugarte did not even feature in the game yesterday. He
At
didn't
all.
even play
At all. A single minute.
He didn't play a single minute. So he could have stick with his normal first 11 that has been helping, that has been working for him in the Europa. Because on their way to Europa, Manuel Ugarte, Casemiro, double pivot, then you have Bruno Fernandes playing in that normal team, very close to the striker. That is where you can see the best of Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes struggled throughout the game yesterday. I could not even see him because he was not at his best yesterday. He even gave away the ball that actually led. He was dispossessed, and that led to the goal of Tottenham Hotspur. So it is what it is. Amorim should take the responsibility because his selection was very, very wrong yesterday, and also he was not really proactive with his substitution.
Yes.
Also late. You have to wait on the 70 minutes. Tottenham Hotspur did not play anything in the second half yesterday.
Definitely.
All they did was to pack the bus and defend the early goal that they got, and that it is not.
And it worked for them yesterday.
Of course, it worked for them. A lot of people were saying that Manchester United were the better team yesterday, but for me, the better team won yesterday because Tottenham Hotspur got a goal. And then they defended well. It was their defense was very, very compact yesterday. So they knew that they just had to defend the early goal, and then anything can happen, and that's what happened yesterday. They got a very early goal in the first half, and United could not change their pattern. I was expecting Amorim to actually introduce the substitution early, even in the second half. Introduce this guy. When you saw that, when Amorim saw that Ange Postecoglou changed his style, because before Tottenham actually got that goal, you could see that they were also all over United. And
yesterday also they played 4-3-3 formation, like we mentioned earlier in the show yesterday, with Chalensi from the left-hand side, Dominic Solanke up front, and we have Johnson from the right-hand side yesterday, and it worked for them perfectly.
So the game was more or less like a balanced game in the first half until Tottenham Hotspur get that goal. When they got the goal, they switched back to to be more defensive minded, to protect their lead, and they defended all through the second half. So you expect Amorim to actually make some attacking substitutions, introduce these guys early. Zegzi, Garnacho, when they came on, we saw that.
We saw the spark up front.
Last 10 minutes of that game was very, very good. I mean, United were dominant in the last 10 minutes. So imagine what they could have done if they had been introduced early in the game, maybe very early in the second half, after the resumption of the game. Introduce this guy. That you are a goal down, you need to get more goals. Mason Mount was off yesterday. Put Garnacho was ready. Look at what he even said after the game. I know his comments after the game was unnecessary, but you could feel the pain that he said he has been playing every round. He has been starting game every round, but he got to the final and he could only play 20 minutes. So it was a very. I think Amorim lost it tactically yesterday, and his in-game management also was poor. His game selection was poor. His in-game management was also poor. Maybe he didn't know how to manage final, how to manage a big occasion like that. But let's just see. I know that their season is probably the worst in the club's
history. Yeah, definitely. This is the worst in recent years.
Yeah. So in recent years, they are not going to play European football next season. They are not going to attract quality players. Some players will even leave. Maybe Bruno Fernandes might eventually leave this team because they need money, and they are not going to get money now because they didn't qualify for Champions League. So they will need to sell some players. And if you look at players that can actually, from a commercial perspective, from a business.
From the business angle now, I think we have Bruno Fernandes, which will be ranking first if we're talking about the business perspective of the show.
From the business perspective, if they want to get more money, if they want to get more cash, vast sales of the player, Bruno Fernandes, Alejandro Garnacho, these are the players that can fetch them.
They are marketable.
They are marketable. Yes, they are marketable. They have a very good market value. That their market value is very high. So quite unfortunate for them that. Yesterday, you expect them to actually play very well, and you expect more from Amorim because it was very. It doesn't. There is no need for you to be, tweaking your formation in a final game.
Yeah, you should work. You should work with a system that has been working for you. We saw United against Lyon. We saw how they set up their games, and of course,
Bilbao.
Yeah, definitely.
Even against Bilbao in the semi-final.
They had a working system up before the finals. And yesterday we were surprised to see the likes of Mason Mount starting ahead of Garnacho.
Even Luke Shaw had no business to play 90
immediately
minutes.
I saw the lineup and I saw Luke Shaw. I was like, Luke Shaw in the finals.
Final. And he played 90 minutes of football yesterday. You wonder why. When you have some young players, agile players, even Lindelof could have done more, could have offered more than Luke Shaw yesterday. Luke Shaw was just there. He was very, 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 very lazy, very static. He was weak. You need players that could run, that could be running up and down, that are very fit and all of that. Look at Lenny Yuru. Lenny Yuru was actually doing very well yesterday. He was perhaps the best player for Manchester United on that pitch yesterday. Andrew Onana also could have done well with that ball. Maybe it was a mistake from Luke Shaw, but that could have been salvageable. It could have actually saved
avoidable.
That ball. But it could have been avoidable rather. it's something that could have been avoided. Very unnecessary goal conceded, and then they dominated possession. But you need to score goals if you want to win a game. And in a final like that, anything, whether you play bad or you play well, whether you play attractive football
or not,
football,
the result is that you win the game, even with half goal. Yeah.
So if you are saying United play better than Tottenham Hotspur, that's from the attacking perspective. On the defending perspective, look at the way they defended. Look at that very, very powerful clearance, goal line clearance from Van der Ven. That was a match-winning clearance. That clearance was actually very crazy. I was still watching that, but I was just shaking my head at. This is very.
And Bukayo was very instrumental for Tottenham Hotspur yesterday.
Very good.
His rating was high, 7.9 rating. That was a brilliant performance, saving goals, saving shots.
Yes. Romero also.
He was man of the match yesterday. Talking about Romero.
It was everywhere. It was, they were very, very resolute at the back to actually hold on to that lead until the final whistle. It was very, very good performance from Tottenham. And Ange Postecoglou, you just have to, respect.
Give it to him. He said it.
He usually
so we cannot call him talk and do. He said that usually second season I always win something, and he won. And to me yesterday, I think he won 2 trophies. He won the Europa Cup, and of course won the Champions League spot for them also. That was a double victory for them yesterday.
And he also won the heart of the fans.
Definitely.
Of owners. Because you know that there has been a whole lot of criticism and pressure around his stay with the club. That he has endured a very poor season with Tottenham Hotspur last season, and this season his second season. So there have been talks around his potential replacement, that they might actually part ways with him, they might sack him. But I think winning the first major title for a club after 17 years is actually a very good one, and he has actually proved himself. He said he made that declaration that it's just for him. That he was not saying it being from like being a proud manager. He was just saying it that this is the start, this is my fact. I always win in second season. He was just declaring, and
I won it yesterday. No doubt about that.
So it's all. He was also very proactive with his game management yesterday. Everything worked for him. The early goal in the first half, and the second half they had to defend with their lives. They dropped every.
All right, Samuel. Samuel, let me just ask you now. What do you think is next for United? I haven't lost yesterday at the Europa League. Next season, there's no European football for them. So what next for United? You mentioned that players like Bruno Fernandes might leave the club. Garnacho might find a way out of the Old Trafford also. So looking forward for next season now. What should we be expecting from United?
Well, it is what it is. They just have to back the manager, regardless of, I was very, very intentional about it yesterday, that I was not sure if United would win that game. But so regardless of whatever happened, and that's why I was saying that even if they had won yesterday, they could not have salvaged their season entirely. But they lose, which is, of course, a very, very bad result for them. Very, very heartbreaking. So now, going forward, I think they need to back the manager, and they should also ensure that there are so many players that need to leave that club. They need to bring in fresh blood, quality players. If they cannot attract, big name, so to say, big profile. Sometimes you don't need big profile to win and to rebuild. So they have to start the rebuild from the scratch now. And that's also the very big part of the project now, that they have to start all over again. and it's going to be very difficult for them now to attract quality players. Some of the players might want to leave, but anyone that wants to leave, the door is open. You need players that can fight for the badge now, young players, unknown players that can even come around without pressure, and they will play and deliver. So that's just what you need. But they should back the manager, because they cannot continue to rotate the circle, sack the manager, bring another one, sack him. I mean, this guy has not really proven himself. He needs more time. This is he has not even had a first full season. Next season will be his first full season. If they back him in the summer and they give him time next season, he can do
all right. City Boy, because of our time, let's talk about the President FA Cup quickly. We saw the semi-finals yesterday. Abakaliki played against Ikorodu City, which Abakaliki won the game via penalty 5-4, and for Kwara in Lagos, they secured victory against Enugu Rangers. What about that?
Yeah, good one for Abakaliki FC. You know, we were saying it yesterday.
Just like Economic Warriors of Maiduguri.
Yeah, just like we saw last season, where
Economic Warriors.
They went to the final, an NLA team, and also they won the trophy. So upset is allowed in football, but quite unfortunate for Ikorodu City. They've had a fantastic season, and they would definitely be very disappointed yesterday with that performance. Penalty shootout, losing on penalties, always very, very heartbreaking. Quite unfortunate for them. It is what it is. Also for Kwara United, I was so happy for them. They made it to the final. I was very happy for them that they qualified for the final, because it's been long that they played a major final.
Maybe this is their season also. To win the President FA Cup and play at the continent next season.
Yeah, the final game is winnable game for them. They'll be playing against an NLS side, but they should not underestimate them.
Yeah, it seemed that finding his way to the finals are very dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. And they will also look at the road to the final for Abakaliki FC. They defeated, big clubs to actually qualify for that final. So they'll be very, very confident going into that final. They can also complete their upsets against Kwara United. But I think Kwara United will definitely be the favourites in the final. Good one for Wasiu Alala, scoring that goal to actually defeat the Flying Antelopes. For Flying Antelopes, quite unfortunate for them. They could not retain their MPFL title, and they will not be playing on the continent next season. But it is what it is. Kwara United were the better side yesterday in Lagos. Also, Abakaliki FC did very well to win that game in Abuja yesterday. Right. Very, very good game for Ikorodu City as well. They've had a very fantastic debut season in MPFL, regardless of how it ended for them. But good one for Abakaliki FC. I even got I got a report that they've relegated to the NLO. So
yes, they are at the verge of relegating. They are at the verge of relegating to the NLO. So it's only take magic and miracle for them to survive that.
So that's the beauty of cup games. Anybody can be beaten. Imagine an NLO side beating an MPFL side, or NNL side beating an MPFL team in the semi-final of President Federation Cup. That's the beauty of the game, and upset is allowed. But they've had a very good run of games to make it to the final, and they should be proud of themselves.
All right, thank you so much for joining the conversation this afternoon, Akintunde Samuel, what we call City Boy. But then we'll be expecting tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, sure. I'll be back tomorrow.
We're back bigger and for the best. So, guys, time to say our BYE on the show right about now. But then we'll be back again tomorrow for the Friday edition. Until then, my name is Ayomikun Adeniyi. You can simply call me Purity. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Stay out of trouble. I'm out of the studio.